All right, and we are back. This is NHL 20 Franchise Mode Calgary Flames. This is episode number 48. Yes, welcome back to our Franchise Mode here at the Calgary Flames, and welcome in to episode number 48 into the 2025 calendar year. I guess we're technically still here on December 31st of 2024. So let's actually advance one day here to the game against the Arizona Coyotes and get ourselves up to January 1. There it is, January 1. The calendar flips to 2025, and this will be our last calendar year that we will hold the title as GM of the Calgary Flames in this particular franchise mode, as it will come to an end in less than 6 months, maybe, hopefully around there, as we hope to go all the way till June and win ourselves our back-to-back Stanley Cup championship title that we are waiting to do. Of course, winning in 2024, we would love to win back-to-back and of course repeat here as champs in 2025 in what is, as mentioned, our final year. So yes, welcome into our franchise mode. But you can see we have quite the challenge ahead of us in this episode and in the next couple episodes if we want this to last a little longer than a couple episodes left in this franchise mode, because we are sitting dead last in our division in the basement with 38 points through exactly 40 games, so one game away from the halfway point of the season. We are sitting in quite a horrible spot. It's been an insanely crazy first half to the 2024-25 season, to say the least. And it ended off with a bang in the last episode. We'll get to that in a second, but I just want to go back to our division here, because when you look at it, 38 points, 40 games, but look at who's at top of our division. San Jose, 47 points. We're not even 10 points back of the San Jose Sharks, who lead our division with 47 points. You got the Anaheim Ducks, the Vegas Golden Knights there with 46 points apiece, and then you got the LA Kings there, 44 points, 42 for the Vancouver Canucks, as well as the Arizona Coyotes, and 40 points for the Edmonton Oilers. 2 points ahead of us are the Oilers for that 7th spot. So what I'm trying to say there is basically our division is a logjam, which we've seen happen in the past in the past couple of years anyway. In our division, we end up having quite a logjam Pacific Division. It's a tight division once again. It's been a tight division for a few years, and it continues to be a tight division. So basically, what I said at the end of the last episode is it is not crazy. Even though you see where we sit, it is not crazy to think by the end of this this season we could be challenging for a division title here in the Pacific Division. Not only could we be challenging for a playoff spot, which is obviously our ultimate goal right now, but we could be challenging for a top spot in our division. We could be the Pacific Division champions. It's not hard to say, because we're only 9 points out of that spot. So it does look bad right now when you see us at the bottom there, 8th. In our division, and one of the worst teams in the league. I believe we sit tied there with the Minnesota Wild for dead last in the Western Conference. You can see there's a couple teams there in the East, the Bruins and the Panthers, as well as the Pittsburgh Penguins, who sit below us in the overall NHL standings. But it's not crazy to think that we could be in a position where we could be, contending for our division and obviously the Stanley Cup playoffs. So that's just what I wanted to say. I mean, it looks bad, but it was not obviously the first half of the season that we wanted. But I mean, there's still a lot of upside. We still have lots of hockey to play, an entire half of a season to go, where we can just have a really good second half and potentially still, get ourselves back up to where we should be as a championship caliber team. So I'm in the overall standings here. I just want to see, again, we've been doing it episode by episode. We've been kind of looking at these stats, the goals for, the goals against, the PP and the PK, and just seeing if we're improving. So let's take a look to see if we improved in each of these categories. Again, we were about 15th in the last episode, at the beginning of the last episode, so that would have been the end of the month of November, where we last checked. We were about 15th overall in goals for per game. So let's take a look at goals for per game. We're going to go from worst to best in all of these categories. So worst to best here, goals for per game. This is best goals for per game. Worst to best goals for per game. So this is about bottom 8, bottom 10, bottom 12. So yeah, about 15 still. It looks like we actually might have sunk a little bit. We might be just in the bottom 15 now. I think we were like exactly 15th. So 300 goals for per game. That's gone down slightly, but it's not the worst. I'd like to see that pick up in the second half for sure. Not to say it definitely can't. So I'd love to see that pick up, goals for per game. But our biggest concern is obviously the goals against per game. And again, we made a major move to address this at the end of the last episode. We'll get to that in a second. But let's take a look at our first half goals against per game. Again, that's best to worst. Here's worst to best, and there it is. We are dead last once again in goals against. So this is why we made that move that we're going to get to in a second. the last episode I think we were third here. I think we sat third worst in the NHL in goals against. Now we are back to being dead last, where we were at the beginning of the season as well. So obviously, when you look at the standings at why we are where we are, when you look at the fact that we have a 28 place beside our name here in overall, meaning we are the 28th team in the NHL, this is a huge reason why. It's goals against. We are the worst team at allowing goals against. We cannot keep the puck out of our net. It is that simple. It's so cliche, but it's that simple. We are just horrible at keeping the puck out of our own net. Now, again, we're going to get to that in a second. Let's quickly go into the PP and the PK to see if these have maybe slightly improved. Worst to best here, PP. I think we were about the 15 mark in this as well in the last episode, which we still kind of remain around the halfway point, 16.2. That could be better for sure. PK looks like this. We were, I believe we were the worst PK team, and we continue to be the worst PK team. So our PK has not improved at all. So that's interesting to note. When we look at that. So that's good, because we haven't looked at that since the last episode, that we are still struggling mightily on the PK. Again, there's really nothing we can do, with the roster we have. So let's go into special teams here quickly. Power play, this could improve. So what we're going to do is we're just going to continue to tweak this. Let's slide a Nathan MacKinnon over. Let's slide a Sean Monahan up the middle. Let's take, it's not working, so let's take Alex Ovechkin off there. Let's put a Tkachuk there. I mean, we're just trying little things. You know what? Let's throw a Tkachuk there, McKinnon there. Ovechkin come down onto the second unit. Throw him on the left side there. Put Claude Giroux there. Like, again, we're just tweaking things around. These are our best players that we want on our power play PK, and so we're just trying to move things around here. PK, Again, I know the line chemistry looks bad there on the right side. There's not much we can do. These are our best players. Tkachuk obviously has not helped that. We put him there in the last episode. So I think we'll stick Claude Giroux back there. What's Jordan Eberle's defensive stats look like? I don't know. We can maybe look at putting Claude Giroux back out there. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter at this point. We're just trying to find little things to make our team better. So let's see, whatever, we'll do that. I'm wondering if we just go stack it with McKinnon, Monahan, put a Dubé there. Like, I really don't know. Just continue to play with this a bit. I don't think that's really changing anything. So yeah, we're just trying little things here to get our PK better. We had Rakdo Gudis down there at one point. It definitely didn't help our PK. So it looks like we got Rasmus Anderson, Dougie Hamilton back there. Again, these are the four best defensemen we have on our team. Not only are they the only really defensive defensemen we can put out there, but they're the four best defensemen. Your other options are Oliver Shillington and Rakdo Gudis, who are like 77, 79. I don't like it. That's all we have. So maybe when we went out and got a Dougie Hamilton this year in the summer, maybe we should have looked at getting more of a defensive defenseman. Hamilton's an offensive defenseman. He's got 6 goals, 10 assists, which is not great at all. So he hasn't really worked out in his second tenure here with the Calgary Flames. Maybe the way we wanted him to. When you're inquiring an offensive defenseman, you kind of want him to have more than 16 points at 40 games, so that's kind of been disappointing. Yeah, I mean, maybe we should have looked at a guy with better, more of a defensive defenseman. I thought that wouldn't be a concern because we had Josh Manson in that role, who's our designated defensive defenseman. But he, I guess he needed help there. Juuso Välimäki, I'm just looking here at our defense. 2 goals, 14 assists. Again, could be better for your top defenseman on your team. Rasmus Anderson, 3 goals, 5 assists. So, I mean, all of these guys are not getting the job done offensively or defensively. So actually, let's go back here to, and I apologize here for the start of this episode, but let's go back to our defensive core. So this is what our defensive core actually looks like. You can see there, Välimäki, Anderson, Manson, Hamilton, the guys we talked about. There are your other 2 guys, Rakdo Gudis, Oliver Shillington, who aren't much better in any category. We have an extra defenseman in Neil Pionk, who can come in and play games as well. We can throw him there on that third pairing. He hurts the line chemistry heavily there. But yeah, I mean, like you can see, this is our defensive core. Clearly, this defensive core is not getting it done offensively or defensively for us. So I mean, between that and goaltending, this is the reason why we can't keep the puck out of our net. Now, do we look at maybe trading one of these guys near the trade deadline and bringing in more of a defensive defenseman? We just brought in Hamilton, in the off season. with his 2 years left there in that trade I believe we made for Dougie Hamilton. We brought him in. Maybe he wasn't the right option. He did so well in his first round ago with the Calgary Flames, and then when he was with the Carolina Hurricanes. But hey, maybe this wasn't the right option for the Flames after all to bring Dougie Hamilton back. Because like I said, he's not getting it done offensively or defensively. The fact that we lost Noah Hannafin in the summer really hurt, which was one of the best defensive pairings, I think, in all of hockey when we had Valimaki and Hannafin. That killed us. I mean, Rasmus Andersson stepped up this year, but he has not been a Noah Hannafin by any regards. I mean, Anderson and Manson were better on that second pairing. So I mean, we can switch that back around, but it sucks. We don't really have an answer on our defensive core this year like we did last year or the years before that. And we knew we were taking a hit to our defensive core when we lost Noah Hannafin, who was our top defenseman, along with Juuso Valimaki. I think he was a 90 overall when we lost him in the summer to free agency. But I mean, I didn't think our defense would get this bad. I knew we would get weaker. I didn't think we would be this much weaker without Noah Hannafin, and it's affected us. I mean, it's crazy how one player leaving our team has affected us so badly on the defensive core. Offensively, like I said, offense can be better. We can continue to tweak these lines, try and produce more. Because our offense is down a little bit, I'm going to try and, throw Tkachuk over there and put an Ovechkin over there. Just try different things with Dubé and Monahan. Just try little things. Hey, look at that +5 line chemistry by putting Tkachuk up there. We're just, trying little things. I'm just playing with lines right here. I just want to try things. So there's not much we can do. Just trying to get line chemistry going here, so I mean, just playing with, tweaking things. And then the big thing here is goaltending. So goaltending was obviously the biggest. You looked at our defense. Goaltending was probably the biggest problem, even more than our defense. And that's why we went out at the end of the last episode and made a massive change. So if you did not watch it, I highly recommend you going back to episode number 47 and watching that one where we finished off with a big bang, obviously making a massive move to address our team going forward. Basically, our huge trade deadline move ahead of trade deadline, and it was going out and shipping out our number one goalie and bringing in another number one goalie in Braden Holtby from the Washington Capitals. So yes, if you missed it, at the end of the last episode, we went and traded a guy who spent 3 seasons with us, who won a Vezina trophy with us in his first year, then led us to a Stanley Cup last year and probably was one of our favorites for the Conn Smythe Trophy. Even though Johnny Gaudreau ended up winning the Conn Smythe Trophy, it easily could have went to the guy who we traded away, and that being Jordan Binnington, who was on our team for the last 3 years. Hell of a goalie. Like I said, his time with Calgary was short, but my God, did he make an impact with the Flames. Like I said, Vezina Trophy, Stanley Cups, possibly an MVP could have been in there as well. I mean, it was insane what Binnington did for us. Unfortunately, we got to this year, and he absolutely just fell off. I don't know. He just fell off the rails. He just shit the bed, whatever you want to say. It was horrible. Jordan Binnington was just having such a down year. So that made us go out and force a trade with the Washington Capitals. Again, it was quite a process because nobody wanted to take on Binnington. Nobody wanted to give us a lot of any goalies. There's not a lot of good goalies out there to begin with. But we were able to send a top prospect with Jordan Binnington to the Washington Capitals for this guy right here, Braden Holtby, who is older, who does have one more year on his contract at 6.8. So, we're taking on a slightly worse contract than Binnington's, who was up at the end of this year. We're taking on a goalie who's slightly older as well, at 35 years of age, but he's an 89, whereas Binnington was an 85. Again, with a team that were so focused on just winning this year, this was the right move to make for just this year, was going out and getting an elite 89 overall goalie in Braden Holtby, who's one of the rare guys in the NHL with a save percentage over 900. Again, it's insane how bad goalies are doing this year in this game. It's really weird. But anyways, we went out and got Braden Holtby. He's a Flame. He's an Alberta native. He's coming home. Leaves Washington after playing his entire career there. He's come to the Calgary Flames at the halfway mark of the season and will take over the net. So it was Jordan Binnington up until the 40-game mark. Now we will run with Braden Holtby, completely changing the captain of the ship here in the goaltending department, if you will. Braden Holtby coming in and will take control here of the net for the second half. And we are hoping that Braden Holtby can have a really good second half for us. As good as a first half as he had there for Washington. If he can have a that good of a half here for us, if not better, would be nice, because we definitely need that out of the 35-year-old here in net. In terms of backup, unfortunately, we still have the same backup in this Alec Netrovic guy, who's just really god awful this year as a backup. We went and got him cheaply as a free agent in the summer. It definitely shows that he was a cheap goalie. Definitely a mistake getting this guy, because he has done nothing but absolutely not be able to support our team. When Binghamton was struggling, which was quite a bit, we tried to give this guy a little bit of runway. We tried to give him some games to go, and I mean, you can look at his numbers that are 8-7-1, 4-1-2 goals against. Nothing good coming out of this guy right here. I probably do want to go get another backup at the deadline as well. But what we're going to do is we're just going to heavily run and rely on Braden Holtby. So that's the goaltending situation. Let me get a drink here for a second. So yeah, that's the goaltending situation. That's the line situation. That's our situation at the halfway point. Like I said, this is our last year as GM of the Calgary Flames. This could be one of our last episodes of this entire franchise mode, which is crazy to think. We obviously accomplished our ultimate goal last year by winning the cup. We wanted to take one more crack at it before we ended off this franchise mode, before we start up a new one in NHL 21 and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I thought we'd take one more run at it. So far, it's not going the way we wanted. Could this season be over with no playoffs? Will we get to the playoffs? Will it be a first-round exit, second-round exit? Will we make it to the conference final, Stanley Cup final? I don't know. We're obviously hoping of just going back-to-back and winning a cup. That's our only goal right now, and our final goal of this franchise mode. So we're going to try and do that. We need a really strong second half if we even want to think of doing that, if we even want to think of the playoffs. And like I said, I mean, right off the top of this episode, I talked about the standings. There they are. We still have a chance at moving up in these standings, and we still have a chance at not only making the playoffs, but contending for our division. So, without further ado, that's the situation. We are going to play the next month and a half before the deadline. Quickly, just look at this. I went over this at the end of the last episode. This is the month of January. You can see we have quite a bit of games, even despite this break in here. Excuse me. And then we have quite a few games here in February before this trade deadline. So what we're going to do is we're definitely going to get up to the trade deadline in this episode, and then we're going to kind of just see where our team is. If we make significant improvement, we might not have to make any trades at the trade deadline, but if we're still struggling, I wonder if we go all in and trade one of our defensemen for a better defensive defenseman, get another backup goalie, but let's hope Braden Holtby can get the job done. Let's heavily rely on Braden Holtby. Let's hope the rest of our offense can pick their game up in the second half. Let's hope our defense can pick their game up in the second half. Let's just hope everybody is better in the second half, a hell of a lot better than we were in the first half, because we're definitely going to need it. We've got a massive change with terms of Braden Holtby instead of Jordan Binghamton now in terms of our number one goalie. Let's see if it makes a difference. So here we go. We are officially going to start the second half of the season, even though this is technically the last game of the first half. But it is January 1. It is possibly the Winter Classic against the Arizona Coyotes. So here we go. Coyotes Flames. And again, this is a divisional game. Every divisional game now that we are in the second half is an absolute must win. So let's see if we can do anything in this first divisional game. A team that's 500 in the Arizona Coyotes. Let's see if we can beat them here and slowly start climbing that standings in the Pacific. So here we go. First period. Flames, Yotes. 1-0 for us. Johnny Gaudreau, second period. All right, we go 3-1. Tkachuk, Giroux. First goal led in by Braden Holtby as a Calgary Flame to Vinny Horoza. Third period, do we hang on for the win here, Flames? Come on. We do. 6-1. That's the way you want to see it. So what a statement game to start the second half, if you will. And all, of course, against former Flame goalie Cam Talbot, who also decided to walk a few summers ago. So yeah, Monahan, McKinnon, Ovechkin adding to it here in the third period of this one. Flames hang on for a 6-1 win. That is a statement game, if you will. That's exactly what you want to see to start the second half. Everything going right in this game. Lots of scoring from our offense. Probably a really good game by Braden Holtby. You'll look at his stats in a second. But 3-point night there for Gaudreau. McKinnon, 3-point night. 2-point night there for Giroux. Tkachuk, who's now a member of the top line, 2-point night there. +3 for Matthew Tkachuk. So looking really good with that new look top line now that Alex Ovechkin is off of it and Matthew Tkachuk is on it. Plus minuses, a lot of guys there in the pluses, just Dylan Dubé in the minuses. Let's take a look at Braden Holtby's debut as a Flame, and there it is, 9.57 in his debut as a Calgary Flame. 22 saves on 23 shots for Braden Holtby. Didn't face a lot of rubber, but that is a hell of a performance for his Calgary Flames debut. The longtime Washington Capital goalie coming in and making a statement in his first game with the Flame, and it was a divisional win to start off the new year. So that's positives. In the first game, that's only one game. I don't want to get ahead of myself there, but that's what you want to see now that we've made that massive change. And hopefully we can start to we have started climbing the standings. We're now ahead of the Edmonton Oilers there, as we have 40 points there. So excuse me. Let's just continue to sim. Like I said, I want to get right to the trade deadline of this episode. Like, here we go. So Florida Panthers, Calgary Flames. I'm going to take another drink here. $50 points, by the way, on the season there for Nathan MacKinnon. All right, here we go. First period, Panthers, Flames, nothing. Second period, come on, Calgary. 1-1, Tkachuk scoring again on the power play this time. Ian Cole for them. Huge third period, Flames. Come on, huge third period. We're going overtime against the Panthers. All right, do we get that extra point? Yes, we do. Sean Monahan, Mr. Overtime himself, getting it done as we beat the Panthers. So we take both points from Florida. Again, I don't care about that extra point when it goes to an Eastern Conference opponent. You never do. All right. That's what you want to see there. And another really good night there by Braden Holtby. 9.55. That's 2 games in a row where his save percentage is over 9.5. I mean, that is insane. That's a hell of a... Look at that goals against. 0.97. I mean, insane. 21 saves on 22 shots this time. Again, not facing a lot of rubber in these last couple of games, including the fact that one went to overtime. But he's getting the job done. I mean, he's letting in 1 goal a game here. Which is really good. All right, Stockton player. Yeah, we can go best lines in Stockton. All right. All right. So, yeah, I mean, just like that, we've now jumped to 6. I mean, look at that. 2 games in, we jumped 2 spots in our division standings. That's how tight our division is. We started off dead last. We played just 2 games, and all of a sudden we are up to 6 in our division from 8th. So I mean that just shows you how tight this division is. We just need to go on a really good win streak here, and we already are on a 4-game winning streak. Going into the last episode, I mean, we just need to keep stringing together wins. I don't care if we go on a 15-game win streak, as long as we're stringing together, wins here and there. So that's all we need to do. We're back to 500 as well. Look at our record, 20-20-2. Pretty much back to 500. All right, so we got another divisional game coming up here against Anaheim and then Edmonton. So lots of divisional games in here. Again, these are all must wins at this point if we want to continue to climb here. So here we go, Anaheim, Calgary, in what is another must win. We're rolling right now. Come on, Flames. All right, 1-0 them. All right, 2-1 for us. 2 huge goals by Johnny Gaudreau there, beating John Gibson. Do we hang on in the third period? Come on, Flames. Oh, my God. I love that. First off, Johnny Gaudreau gets the hat trick against the Anaheim Ducks. Nathan MacKinnon, Rasmus Andersson, Alex Ovechkin scores twice. I mean, you just love to see that. 7-1 beatdown against the Anaheim Ducks, one of our biggest rivals. Again, another massive statement game. We were trailing this game 1-0 after 20. Johnny Gaudreau alone gets us back into this game, scoring 2 goals in the second period, and then we just break out in that third period. And how good is this new look top line of Nathan MacKinnon, Johnny Gaudreau, and Matthew Tkachuk looking? 4-point night and a +3 for Nathan MacKinnon. 3-point night, a hat trick for Johnny Gaudreau. 4-point night, by the way, for Sean Monahan on the second line as well. 2 goals for Ovechkin. Tkachuk has 2 assists. Like, that top 6 is looking so much better by just switching Tkachuk and Ovechkin around, which is insane. 1 minor change there. All right, looking really good there. Who's that in +5? That is Rasmus Andersson, a +5. Wow. We switched our defense around, and they're looking good as well. A 9-6-7 for Braden Holtby. I mean, that's his best game so far as a Flame. 30 shots faced, 29 saves. Like, that's 3 insanely good games in a row by Braden Holtby to start off his career as a Calgary Flame. Like that is like not just 3 good. That is 3 incredibly solid games by Braden Holtby. Like, wow, I can't even. That could be a massive trade for us. Again, we look like we lost that trade because we gave up, a younger goalie and a prospect for an older aging goalie, but this could turn out to be, we could turn out to win this trade when it's all said and done. So let's just keep going. We got Edmonton coming up here next. Going to try and start simming faster. Just really excited with the way things are going now to start this second half. And watch as I say that we're going to start losing. But no, here we go. Edmonton, Calgary. That's another must win because it's a divisional game. Here we go. First period, 3-1 for us. Ovechkin, Gaudreau, Dubé. They get 1 from Connor. Second period looks like this. We get 2 more. Eberle and MacKinnon. Do we hang on in the third? We do. That's a goal from Claude Giroux on the power play. Suddenly our power play is clicking. Like, everything's starting to click now for the Calgary Flames. 6-2 win there for the Flames. Lots of pluses there on that right side of the column. 2-point night for a few guys there. And once again, Braden Holtby, 9-1-3. Another good night for Holtby. Wow, I'm excited. This is going good. All right, here we go. Detroit, Calgary. That might be the change we needed at the halfway point there. As we're on a bit of a win streak here. 6 games roughly. All right, here we go. Detroit, Calgary. Not a must win, but you definitely want to continue to win as many games as you can at this point. Here we go. Go Flames. All right, first period. 2-1 for them. Second period. 4-1 for them. Can we pull back in the third? All right, we lose our first game of the second half. Claude Giroux adds a goal, but we do lose this one 4-2. Unfortunately, we do lose our first game, snapping what was a 6 or 7 game win streak. But again, I don't care about how long those streaks are, as long as we bounce back and start winning more games in a row here, stringing together wins, if you will. All right, let's look at goaltending. So 8-4-6, the first poor night from Braden Holtby as a Calgary Flame, but hey, he's played really well before this. Hopefully, that's just a one and off. Let's continue to shake that off and move on. We got the Islanders up next here. All right. First period, here we go. Beautiful, look at that. First period hat trick for Nathan frickin' McKinnon. 2 power play goals and a power play goal for Johnny. 3 power play goals in that first period. Like, holy hell, where was that all season? We have one of the most elite offensive cores on paper. Our power play should be killing we should have the best power play in the league. I'm just saying. Second period. They bounce back with a couple goals. McKinnon gets his 4th goal of the game. Hey, watch out. Safeway score and win. Somebody's going to win $1 million and McKinnon gets one more goal. Here we go, third period. Oh, I thought McKinnon was going to get it. It's Claude Giroux. Robbie Fabry scores for them. 6-3 win there for the Calgary Flames. So we bounce back with a huge win. All joking aside, a 5-point night there, by the way, for Nathan McKinnon. 4-point night for Johnny Gaudreau. Kachuk on that line as well, 2 points. Monahan's just been so steady as a second-line center now with 3 points on that. Now that we put Ovechkin there. Again, not the best night for Holtby, but hey, we got the win. 8-3-3 there for Braden Holtby. So it's 2 games in a row where he's, not the best night, but hopefully he'll bounce back. But again, I was going to say, all kidding aside, it's good to see our offense taking off just as well as our defense and our goaltending. Like, everything going at once. Again, on paper, we had one of the most elite teams in this game. We built, look at the roster we have. Again, I'm not going to go into it, but, I mean, we have one of the best, Ovechkin, McKinnon, and our top 6 to go, along with Monahan, Gaudreau, Kachuk. We have such a, Claude Giroux's a depth. We should be doing better than we were, and we weren't. And that's what was really frustrating. Our power, like I said, with those offensive weapons that we had, our power play should have been it should have been the best power play in the NHL. Not only this year, but in multiple years. It should have been one of the best power plays of all time with the roster we had. So, I mean, it's insane that it's taking this long for things to start going, but good to see it finally getting going here. So, 9-7-1 there for Braden Holtby. A 3-point night for Sean Monahan leads us to a 4-1 win over the Colorado Avalanche. Things are looking up for the Calgary Flames right now as Holtby bounces back to another good night. So we're just going to continue to sim here, get ourselves up to trade deadline, and then kind of evaluate where we sit as a team. So we are somewhere near the end of the month of January. We're just in the middle of the month, 17th of January. Chicago. So here we go. I'm going to try and sim a little bit faster. I'm talking faster right now because I want to get through this. All right, so here we go. We got Chicago. This one's tied 4-4 after regulation. Do we get that extra point? How about in a shootout, Calgary? No, they get it. So we do get a point out of this one. They beat us in a shootout. 5-4 is the final. Probably, again, not the best night for Braden Holtby as we're starting to get into a lot more shootout games. And I don't mean shootout in terms of the shootout. I mean just a lot of high-scoring games there. 8-9-2 for Braden Holtby. For the most part, Holtby's been really solid to start off his Calgary Flames tenure. But like I said, I'm just going to try and start getting through these a lot faster. So again, in the AHL, this guy's ready to play. Best lines down there. We have not been paying attention to Stockton at all. All right, here we go. So a couple more games, and then we go on an extended break here, and then we get into the month of February. So here we go. 4-2 Jets. 5-4 Jets after 40. We bounce back and tie this one, stealing a point that we probably shouldn't even have had against Winnipeg. Do we get that extra point? Come on, Calgary Flames. We do. We come from behind, and it's Nathan McKinnon in overtime. 43 shots on Hellebuck in this one. That's a huge steal of a win, although we played horrible in this one because we let in 6 goals. Again, our offense is just taking off at the best possible time right now. Eberle, Giroux, that line going really well. 3 points for each of them. The second line was, or the top line, I should say, was pretty good as well. Hope he struggled again in this one. 8-2-9. But like I said, we're winning games right now. It's weird because we're winning hockey games. Oh fuck, here we go. We got an injury. Calgary player Dylan Dubé is injured. Estimated time January 30th. All right, perfect. We are going on an extended break. So that really doesn't affect us right now. So minor injury right here. Dubé will get to heal during our extended break. So I'll slide Bennett up there for the one game that Dubé is going to be out. We will throw in a Glenn Gaudin. Sure, you can go into all line situations there. So we only got one game against Minnesota, and then we go on that break, as mentioned, and then we'll get Dylan Dubé back. So, all right, here we go. Sim this Minnesota game. All right. All right, first period, 3-0 Flames. Second period, 7-0 Calgary Flames. There's Dougie Hamilton showing up. Lots of power play goals in there as well. And a 9-2 Calgary is how this one will end. Wow. Our offense is starting to... this is the offense we should have had on paper. I don't know if it was because we put Matthew Tkachuk on that top line, which boosted that top line chemistry to +5. Maybe line chemistry really does matter. Maybe that's when we go into our next franchise mode. Maybe we should build our team based on line chemistry. We haven't been paying a lot of attention to it, but maybe it works. This is the first time we've had a +5 on our top line in our entire franchise mode, and look how well they're doing. Like McKinnon, a 5-point night. How many 5-point, 4-point nights has he had in the last how many games? Tkachuk, 3 points there. Johnny Gaudreau, 3 points. Like how many 3-4-point nights has Johnny Gaudreau had in the last how many games? It's insane. Hamilton's starting to play good on the back end. Zarnik, Monahan, Ovechkin and Monahan have been playing really well on that second line together as well. It's incredible. I mean, just changing one lineup, look at McKinnon already gets 70 points now. Like, holy cow. All right, so let's get up to this Carolina game. Dylan Dubé should be able to come back now by this Carolina game, hopefully, as we are on an extended break. And then let's start simming through the month here of February and get up to that trade deadline. All right, here we go. I want to edit lines manually. Get Dylan Dubé back in here. So we'll just basically go back to what it was before Dubé was injured. Dubé goes straight to the second line. What is Dubé? A center? All right, Dubé there, Bennett back in his spot, and we'll just continue on. Wow, so yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. This is exactly the opposite of what it's been like all season long. Excuse me, for the Calgary Flames. We've been, we're doing everything right, whereas everything before this episode, we were doing everything wrong. It's insane how much it's just flipped on a dime to start this episode. So there we are now, sitting 5th in our division, 55 points. We still are not technically in a playoff spot, though. We are 1 point back of a playoff spot of the Vancouver Canucks, who sit 3rd in our division. The reason being is both wildcard spots go to a very good Central Division, as both Dallas and Winnipeg have the wildcard spots. So we basically need... we want to get into the top 3 in our division. So we're, I am struggling. I apologize. Holy fuck. I'm going to slow down here because I'm talking way too fast. We basically want to be in a top 3 spot in our division to guarantee we are getting a playoff spot, is what I'm trying to say. Let's not rely on a wild card spot, because there's a good chance it goes to the Central Division, both of them. But like I said, we're 1 point back of Vancouver, who holds that final spot in our div. We have 2 games in hand on them. We're tied the San Jose Sharks with the exact same games at hand, games played, whatever, and points. We are 3 points up on Arizona, so we have a little bit of a cushion, if you will, on the sixth place team in Arizona. We're 4 points up on Vegas, and 5 points up on Edmonton, who sits dead last. So we've kind of separated ourselves from the bottom 3 just a little bit. Don't want to get too comfy from Arizona, Vegas, and Edmonton, but we're starting to see a little bit of separation, and luckily for us, we are on that top half, because we're still in there with like I said, we're 1 point back of Vancouver, we're 3 points back of Anaheim, and just 5 points back of the top spot in our division. Like, we still can be top in our division, top 3 spot for sure. So Quickly looking at the standings as we continue to sim here. This has been an insanely good start to our second half of the season as we just continue to roll here. So here we go. Carolina Hurricanes. First game back, by the way, from the break. Calgary, Carolina. Here we go. 3-1 to start this one. Second period looks like this. 5-3 third period. Excuse me, that was the third period. 5-3 is how this one ends. The Calgary Flames with a 5-3 win. 3-point night once again for Gaudreau. 2-point night for McKinnon. It's like clockwork for these guys. You just know they're going to have just multi-point nights every single game now. Braden Holtby, not 8-9-7. So as we're continuing to sim here, Braden Holtby started off with like a really, really good opening 5 games to his Calgary Flames career. After that, he's kind of been a little bit up and down, above 900, below 900. He's had some really, really good games in there, but he's also had some slightly poor games. Not really bad games at all. He hasn't had any Jordan Binnington type games at all, but he's had a few games where he's been below 900. But again, it doesn't matter because the biggest story of this second half, I thought it was going to be goaltending and I thought it was going to be Braden Holtby, but it's the fact that our offense has just come out of nowhere and decided to fucking just score. Like it's insane. They decided to pick up their play like they should have been all season long. So I mean that's crazy. I mean, I don't know what to say anymore. This is insane. But anyways, we're 4-4 here at the Columbus Blue Jackets. Again, an Eastern team. I don't care about that extra point going to the other team. I just want that extra point on our team. Do we get it in overtime? Do we get it in a shootout? No, we don't. All right, we get 1 point out of Columbus, but we're losing these shootout games. All right. All right. Okay game there, I guess, all around. Would have liked that extra point. 8-8-2 again. Hope he's struggling in this one is a bit of a concern. So what this is also saying for me is maybe, like, Braden Holtby's still our number 1 goalie, still 89 overall. He's still getting it done. He's, for the most part, I still think we should get a decent backup to spell Braden Holtby off from time to time. I mean, he is 35 years of age after all. All right, so look at that. For the first time, I think all season, if I'm not wrong, we are in a fucking playoff spot. We're in the top 3 in our division with 58 points for the first time. The Calgary Flames are in a playoff spot, out of the basement of the Western Conference in the Pacific, all the way to top 3 in our division. I mean, I don't know what to say. This is really good to see. This is exactly what we wanted to see. On top of it, Braden Holtby is going to play his first game against his former team in Washington. So yeah, I mean, this is going to be fun. Excuse me, decline this trade. So yeah. Obviously, Holtby has probably circled this game on his calendar, heading back to Washington where he played his entire career, and he has a chance to get the win against his former team. Meanwhile, on the other end, you know who's going to be hungry on the other end? A guy that we just traded away. Jordan Binnington's going to probably look to get the win here against us. So this is the battle of the 2 goalies that we just made that blockbuster trade for. Here we go. Who's going to win this one? Come on, Flames. All right, first period, 2-1 for them. So they get 2 goals. And we get 1 on Binnington. Monahan beats the former Calgary Flame on the power play. Second period, come on, Flames. Shit. They're up 3-1, third period. All right, so this one goes to Jordan Binnington. He is the better goalie of the 2, as he shows us why we probably shouldn't have traded him. But again, you know, I would make that trade again if I was doing that again. Has definitely given us a boost and has picked our season up. So unfortunately, we lose this one to the Washington Capitals. And Holtby 8-8-9 against his former team. Jordan Binnington at the other end probably plays pretty well. Let's just really quickly look at Jordan Binnington. He goes 9-6 against us. So something he rarely did this season was get above 900. Excuse me, in the save percentage category. He does go 9-6 against us. I wish him nothing but the best in Washington. He's going to be a good goalie for them. Good goalie for them for a long time. Like I said, he won a Stanley Cup with us, won a Vezina Trophy with us, could have won an MVP with us. He was that good. So nothing but the best for Jordan Binnington. He does get the best of us in this one as we lose back-to-back games, which seems like the first time in forever. But we got the New Jersey Devils coming up next here. All right, so we're still tied, by the way, with Vancouver for 58 points. So we want to kind of separate ourselves a little bit from Vancouver here if we can. So here we go. We got the Devils, handful of Eastern Conference teams, by the way, but we still want to be getting those 2 points against all these East teams. I don't care if it comes in overtime or a shootout. I just want to be getting all these points. All right, here we go. Devils, we're up 3-1 after 40, and we'll hang on for that 3-1 win. Probably a bounce-back night for Braden Holtby after a couple poor games. Yeah, 9-6-3. Like, look at that. He has some games where he just goes lights out, like Vezina Trophy caliber lights out. And he had a few of those to start off his tenure with the Flames. And that's another good one here against the Devils. We pick up the 3-1 win. We got the Ottawa Senators next here. All right. All right, here we go. First period, he gets the sends 2-2. Second period goes like this, 3-3. Do we get a huge third? Come on, Calgary. Come on, Calgary. Fuck. All right, they get this one. They get that extra goal in the third period. That one hurts us a bit. Let's take a look at here at Holtby, 892 again. Struggling slightly in this one, but again, not the worst. Like, he's every time he's below 900, it's just like 8-9 something. Like, he's still really close to 900 in every single game. So I mean, he's still like solid goalie all around. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, we got the Rangers here next. See, we can start stringing together some wins again here. I think we've dropped down back to 4th in our div. All right, here we go. 2-1 us. Second period. 3-1 us. Do we hang on? Yes, 5-1. Massive game here for the Calgary Flames. All right, not a good night for that top line. McKinnon goes 2 goals. Tkachuk 2 assists. And then, again, back to a really good game for Braden Holtby, 9-6-7. I mean, he's so up and down. He's either having a really unbelievable lights-out game, or he's just slightly below 900 and having a slightly poor game. But it's like, doesn't matter. We're getting the wins at the end of the day. So there we are, 62 points now, 3rd still in our div. Here we go. We got a divisional game coming up against the Vegas Golden Knights, a team that we have passed. So hang on. Here's Noel Acciari, who is on waivers. Arizona's placing him on waivers. Do you want to claim him? For the AHL 1.4, I actually know I want to save that salary cap space if we can. All right. Because I don't know what we're going to have to do here at the trade deadline. I definitely think we want to address it by getting a backup goalie. So you can see we're approaching trade deadline. The trades are coming in quite frequently here. All right, so a team that once was standing as the top team in our division for the longest time has actually dropped down to 58 points, to 7th in our division in the Vegas Golden Knights. So we want to definitely be beating them in another must-win here at the Saddledome. Come on, Flames against the Knights. Again, every divisional game at this point is a must-win. So here we go. Come on, Calgary. 1-0 them start this one off. Second period ties it up. Come on, third period. We need to win this in regulation. We need this in regulation. Come on, Calgary. Come on. Fuck. All right. We don't get it in regulation, but we still have a chance to get 2 points and only give up 1 to them. Come on, Flames. Come on. How about in a shootout, which has been our weakness? Yeah, okay. It continues to be our weakness. Lots of scoring in the shootout, but we do lose this one 2-1 to the Vegas Golden Knights in a shootout. The one game our offense just does not come through. Yeah, that one sucks. Good night for Holtby at 9-7-2, but we needed this divisional game. That's a tough loss. I mean, it gives Vegas a little bit of life. They're now just 3 points back of us. We dropped down to 4th in our div. We needed that one. All right. Try and bounce back here with the last couple of games here before the deadline. So big trade going down. Avalanche getting Josh Bailey, Robbie Fabry. Islanders get a first and Cobean. All right, here we go. Ottawa. Second time in like the last 4 games that we're playing the Senators. We need to start stringing together some wins here. We were doing so good to start this episode. All right, 3-0 them, 4-1 them, 6-1 them. Holy fuck! All right, that's our worst game of the second half so far. We get blown out 6-1 by the Ottawa Senators. A really bad night there for Holtby. For the first time, Netrovic comes in the second half and has to play in relief of Braden Holtby. That's why we want a good backup. Lots of guys in the minuses in this one. Top line struggling in this one. Second line struggling in this one. Let's hope this was just one bad game for the Calgary Flames. We need to bounce back here. All right, we got the Rangers again, who we just beat 5-1. See if we can get another win here against the Rangers. Like I said, we got to bounce back. We've lost too many games in the last handful of games here for my liking. We were doing so good. All right, here we go. Bounce back against the Rangers. Flames, come on, Calgary. All right, here we go. First period, 1-0 us. Second period, still 1-0. Third period, do we hang on? Yes, we do. 4-1. All right. Gaudreau, a natural hat trick in the third period after Tkachuk had the only goal of the game until this period. And Johnny Gaudreau, our Conn Smythe Trophy winner from last season, comes through with a third period hat trick. That's what you want to see from that top line. Again, top line doing all the damage here. Tkachuk with a 3-point night. Gaudreau with a 3-point night, including the hat trick, and a 2-point night and a +3 rating for Nathan McKinnon. 9-7-2 once again for Braden Holtby. Between our top line and Braden Holtby, I mean, we're stealing games. I mean, this is beautiful. All right. Dallas, Boston, and then how many games before that deadline against Philly? We should be quite close to that deadline against Philly. All right, okay, it's coming up there. So we got Dallas, Boston, Florida, and then it's trade deadline day. All right, so we will play the game against the Panthers, and then we will stop and do our trade deadline. All right. I'm excited, by the way, for NHL 21 because I heard there's quite a new revamped NHL trade deadline day in that game. So that'll be interesting to see how that one works out. All right, Dallas first period, second period's 1-1. Third period, do we get that extra point against the Stars? We do in overtime. It is courtesy of Rasmus Anderson. We won't even look at the stats in this one. A 2-1 game. Boston Bruins. Come on, Boston Bruins. All right, here we go. Boston Bruins, let's see if we can keep these wins going. We're on a bit of a little mini win streak here. We got to keep stringing together wins here. Right, nothing after 1, 1-0 after 40, 4-2 after 60. That's what you want to see. Again, I'm just going to go through this really fast here because I want to get right up to the trade deadline. See how much time we got left in this episode. And then the Panthers, our final game before the deadline. Let's see if we can go up with a bang here before our deadline. Okay, yeah. Just want to play this game against the Panthers. All right, first period, 3-1 us. Second period, 6-1 us. And it ends 8-2 for us. All right, beautiful, beautiful. That's the way you want to end it. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. We are sitting third in our division with 71 points. What's our running time on this episode? I got to take a look here. So I'm going to go into the trade screen here then, and I'm going to figure out what we have for options in terms of trades now that we are sitting third in our division. So give me a second. All right, and we're back. So I'm just here in the standing screen. I just want to show you this really quickly before we get into the trade deadline. Just take a look at where we sit now in terms of overall standings in the entire NHL. There we are, 12th best now in the NHL for the first time. What seems like all season. Not only are we in the top half, but we're in the top 12 and one of the top teams in our division. We just went 7-3-2. Since the start of this episode in the month of January with our new goaltender in Braden Holtby, if you will, 7-3-2. I mean, that's not even an extremely amazing record by any means of the imagination, but it's good enough to put us into a top 12 spot now from the basement of the NHL. And it was just a really good all-around solid month, some good divisional games in there as well. And suddenly, just like that, in one episode, we've literally climbed out of the basement and we have our playoff hopes back alive. But what's even more amazing is take a look at this. Remember where we sat at goals for per game in terms of our offense? Let's take a look at it now. We were about 15th in the league at the beginning of this episode before the last handful of games here in the month of January. Take a look at it now. Goals for per game from best to worst this time. We are second best in the NHL in goals for per game. So just in the last how many games there that we played, we propelled from about 15th. Actually, in fact, I think we were about we were probably around the 20 mark. We were in the bottom 15 for sure. I think we were about 20th in the league in goals for at the beginning of this episode. Now we are second best in the NHL at 3.48 goals for. So that's amazing. I can't believe how explosive our offense has been. And that's obviously the biggest reason we have climbed the standings is our offense in this episode. Goals against is still struggling a little bit when we go from worst to best here. Goals against, there we are right here. That's what, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 worst in the league. But we were worst in the league to start this episode. You remember we were dead last. We're now 6 worst, which again is a slow improvement. Looking at the PP, another sign of our explosive offense. It goes from about halfway in the NHL, about 15th again, all the way up to second once again, 25.8. Suddenly our power play has just decided to take off again. With the players that we have on paper, it really should have been a long time before this. PK though, still struggling at 74%. It's good enough still for dead last on the PK, so we still have to address the PK there, and we're going to do that right now here at the trade deadline. But yeah, I just thought that was amazing. I mean, we go 7-3-1 here in this month since we started this episode. Not even a large sample of games, but I mean, it shows in the standings and it shows in the stats when you look at our team. I mean, it's incredible. Our offense just came out of nowhere and has propelled us. And on top of that, Braden Holtby has played pretty solid. He's been pretty good for us since coming over. Let's take a quick look at his numbers actually since he's come over with the Calgary Flames. He hasn't been, his best, but he's been decent. good enough to get us where we are. So here's a look at Braden Holtby. Let's just go here by stats. I want to click on him here. So you can just see his time here with Calgary. All right, so he's played 22 games with us since coming over. 916, 245 goals against. That's all you can ask for out of your starting goalie who's 35 years of age. 15-4-3 is his record since coming over, playing 22 games. Again, he was 903 in 30 games with Washington to start this year. He's gone up to 916. That's actually his best save percentage since 2020-2021 here with the Capitals. So he's picked it up. He's playing pretty decent for us. Again, you'd like to see him playing a little bit better in some of those games, but for the most part, considering what we got out of Jordan Binnington in the first half of the season, that's not bad at all. He's getting the job done in the net, but most importantly, our offense is getting the job done. So with that, we definitely, it kind of changes what we do here at the trade deadline. These lines, since we put Tkachuk here with this top line, they've gone a +5 rating, as you can see there. This top line has just absolutely gone lights out here, and they're the biggest reason why. Not even going to touch them. And even our depth lines, like this Monahan, Ovechkin, Dubé line has been really good. We've got some good, some good depth out of our bottom six here. So suddenly our offense is taking off. It's just our defense and our goaltending. I want to get those goals against up a bit, and especially on the PK. So what I want to do here is, first things first is, let's go to the trade screen here. We're going to make a couple little trades. They're nothing major. We did our big trade with Braden Holtby, obviously at the beginning of, or at the end of the last episode there. But I still want to address some minor things. So first things first is the backup goaltending position. Like I said, we know Braden Holtby's our number one goalie. He's getting the job done for the most part. But I just want to bring in that guy to kind of support him. So there's Braden Holtby there. We're going to get rid of Alex Netrovic. He has just been god-awful for us this year. Let's take a quick look at his stats. 874, 408 goals against. He's only played 17. We really couldn't put him in for any longer than that. We didn't really trust him. So we're going to ship him out. Now, I went through all the teams. Again, off camera, I did a lot of work here. I went through all the teams in terms of goaltending and in terms of teams that want these players. Now, here's the other thing about our team, is we have no salary cap space. So when you click on our roster here, or on our screen here, look at the bottom there, 0.078 to work with, 0.78 thousand to work with. That's not even a lot of money at all. So we have some work to do. The only way we're going to acquire another player to come into our team with salary is to ship out the same amount of salary. So basically what I'm saying is Alex Netrovic here is making 1.5. We have to bring back a goalie with equivalent salary. He can't have more than this. So that makes it even tougher already. Plus I'm looking for a team that's interested in him. So like there's Boston here that's interested in him. But again, you're looking for bringing back you're looking to, one, bring back a decent backup goalie, but two, they have to be highlighted in red because the other team has to want to get rid of them to help the trade value go through. And then three, you got to make sure the salary works. Now, in this random case, it does. This guy's only 77 though, so I mean he's not a backup goalie quality, so we wouldn't be bringing him in even though he's listed as a backup. I'm looking for a decent backup to come in. Now there was only really one team. I'm gonna just try and cut this a little short here. There was only one team that matched everything, like matched all three of those things, and so we're gonna go to them right now, and it is the San Jose Sharks, and I think it's a decent bet to bring back a backup goalie. So let's go to San Jose, and here it is. It's Ilya Samsonov from the San Jose Sharks. When you look at Samsonov here, 83 overall, 28 years of age. He's been their number one goalie in San Jose, but he's really more of a backup at 83. I know he's listed as a starter, but 913, 285 goals against is pretty decent numbers. But when you come down here to salary, 1 year at 1.2 left. That is perfect. That is perfect because what is Netrovic? 1.5 on 1 year. I mean, perfect term, perfect salary. This is a guy that, if our new GM decides he wants to re-sign Samsonov next year, he can, because he's got an expiring contract. But just the fact that it's 1 year, 1.2, it's even less. The trade value, I mean, look at the trade value. It's not even that high on this guy. I mean, again, he's listed as a starter, but he's only 83, so he should be more of a backup. But yeah, I mean, it's not even high on him. And plus, the Sharks are looking to get rid of him. So I don't know if the Sharks are at the bottom of our standings and they're looking to rebuild right now at the deadline. They're not trying to make the playoffs, but they're trying to get rid of this guy. So, I mean, it's perfect for us. I mean, it's literally a perfect swap for us. We're getting a slightly better goalie. They're getting Netrovic, but we're getting a good guy to be a solid backup behind Holtby and really be a good tandem with Braden Holtby going into the Stanley Cup playoffs if we should make it. So this one makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. It's really the closest I could find where the other team wanted to take on Netrovic, plus they wanted to give up this goalie, plus the salary work, plus the overall is in the range of what we wanted. So, I mean, this one makes the most sense. Now, trade value-wise, it looks like it's a little bit in their favor, so we're going to have to swing the deal. But I'm going to try this deal 1-for-1 to start. So let's try it 1-for-1, Netrovic for Samsonov. They're going to reject it, obviously. It's filling the needs, but it's just not where it needs to be. So, yeah, I mean, I knew we would have to probably swing that up. This is where we're going to get into prospects and draft picks here. So we did trade away a prospect with the Braden Holtby deal. So maybe let's dive into our draft picks here and see if we can sweeten the deal with like a 4th round pick. We have 2 4th round picks coming up in the 2025 draft. Again, we're not going to be the GM any longer after the end of the season, so this won't affect us. But again, I want to keep it realistic. I don't want to just trade away all our picks here. I want to give our new GM something to work with. So let's try giving away, hey, we'll give away the Hurricanes pick that we acquired from I forget when, but we have 2 4ths, so we can definitely afford to gamble a 4th. So let's try Netrovic and a 4th, which they want for Samsonov. Let's go, and it's still rejected, so we do need to sweeten it just a touch more, I'm guessing. So we will try our 3rd. We got 2 4ths. We'll try our 3rd here. All right, so a 3rd and Netrovic. This should be more in their favor for Samsonov, and it's still rejected. You met our blocks enough, but the value on the table is just too far off. I don't know. It looks pretty close to me. All right. I don't really want to jump into 2nd there. That's a lot to give up for a backup goalie. I wonder we give up our 4th and like, I don't know, another depth pick down here. We can give you our 6th, a 4th and a 6th, plus Netrovic for Samsonov to really get that backup goalie that we need. Let's try it. And it's still rejected. Oh my god. All right, so we're really sweetening it here. I'm wondering if we're going to need to put in a prospect in there as well. So let's go into skaters. All right. So we can go into here. Again, we got some top prospects in here. I don't want to put in a top prospect. I wouldn't mind like a B-level prospect. Excuse me. So let's try this guy right here. This Elenik. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. He was drafted 6th round by us. I don't think that's going to get it done, but let's throw him in there. All right. San Jose would have more skaters. Fuck. Come on, San Jose. Is there anybody else you're looking to give away with very, very low trade value that we can take back for the minor league? This guy right here. Let's just try him. So let's try that. Plus, we're going to have to obviously add a pick in here as well. Oh, this wheeling and dealing is just so fun. All right. Let's go draft picks here. My God. Okay, so let's try that and a 4th. So a prospect, a B-level prospect, roughly. He's like more of like a C-level prospect. A 4th, and then we're getting like a pretty low prospect back as well. And Samsonov, let's try this one. A 5-piece trade here. And it's accepted. All right. So, yeah, we had to throw in like a minor prospect plus a 4th. They had to throw in a roster player coming back the other way to make it work. But we do get Ilya Samsonov at the end of the day to come in and be our backup. He's a really solid backup goalie. Like I said, he's more of a starter. Okay, hang on. Make roster moves here. In the system. All right. Should go by goalies here. But yeah, no, he's more of like a I'm trying to go to edit lines here. Your rosters must be compliant with what you like to do. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to do that. All right. Whatever. Auto fix roster. I don't care. I can re-edit the lines after. All right. It shouldn't affect our lines, actually. All right. So, sorry. Yeah, so we got Holtby and Samsonov. Like I said, he's more of a starter anyway. But yeah, that's going to be a solid backup for us. We now have a really good tandem. Netrovic just wasn't getting it done for us. We needed to ship him out. He was so bad for us this season. We couldn't rely on him. Now, all of a sudden, we have a legit starting goalie who we can trust, plus a really reliable backup goalie. So I like that trade. I really do. I think that was a good trade for us. Again, had to chip in some pieces away, but for us, it made a lot of sense. I'm just looking at our salary cap space here. So we got .112 to work with. Again, not a lot of money to work with at all for the Calgary Flames. Actually, a little bit more than we had to start in that deal now that we traded Netrovic there for Samsonov. So there's now one other thing I want to do. So let's kind of refresh the screen here. And the last other thing I want to do here with some minor moves here at the deadline is to bring in a defenseman, because I don't think goaltending was the only reason. Like I said, our PK's still dead last. Our goals against are still in the bottom. We brought in a better goalie. Clearly, we need to upgrade our defense, and by that I mean our defensive category. So we have a lot of high-end offensive defensemen: Valimaki, Hamilton, Rasmus Anderson, Josh Manson. That's our top 4. Manson's our only defensive defenseman. clearly he needs a little bit more help in that category. I think Anderson is a two-way, or is he an offense? Two-way defender, offensive defenseman, and two-way defender in Valimaki. So it's clear, though, that we need more defensive defensemen like Josh Manson here. When we look at our defensive core, that's our top 4, as mentioned. This is going by trade value, but here's our bottom 6. Is Neil Pionk and Oliver Shillington. These guys have been on the bottom pairing, and they have not been getting it done. Neil Pionk's an offensive defenseman, and as is Oliver Shillington. That's where our mistake is. Now, look at them, -14 and -16 for both players, respectively. They are not getting it done there on the third pairing. So we need some help, on that third pairing, but we also need somebody that can step into our penalty kill as well. So I'm looking to bring in a defensive defenseman. So again, what I did is I went through all the teams. This one took a long time. I had to go through all the teams, had to find defensemen that once again made sense. I was one, looking for a defensive defenseman only. 2, I was looking for a fair trade for both teams, and then 3, again, making the salary cap space work. So we got 1.7 mil in Oliver Shillington, 1.5 mil for 3 more years in Neil Pionk. So let's try and get rid of that extra term in Neil Pionk's contract. Let's see if we can ship Pionk out of here. And again, I found 2 teams that made the most sense that we can try and target to make a trade with. The first is actually our arch rivals in the Edmonton Oilers. So I want to ship Pionk there, and I want to bring back a defensive defenseman. Luckily, they have a couple right here on the market. Both Jonas Siegenthaler and Patrick Nemeth are both defensive defensemen. Both are making roughly around what Pionk is making, 1.755 here for Siegenthaler, 1.9 for Patrick Nemeth. That's a little bit richer. Siegenthaler is a little bit younger. Again, when we click on them here, you can see here defensive defenseman for Siegenthaler. Look at his defensive stats, 84, the 91 right down there. Nemeth looks like this, 85 and 87. But it's when you look at when you go down to this screen here and you look on the top left there, it shows right here that he is lines scouted on. So this is what he's been scouted on: defensive pairing 3, penalty kill 1, 3-man PK 1. Nemeth, he's got penalty kill 1 as well, 3-man penalty kill 1, and defensive pairing 2. So they're putting him a little bit higher in the lineup. So maybe that's what we need to target, is guys that have that penalty kill 1 beside their name here, and a guy that can play on your second pairing or third pairing. Apparently Nemeth can do both. Apparently Jonas Siegenthaler can play in your third pairing and can play on the 3-man penalty kill 1, but probably can play on your penalty kill 1 as well. So that's what you want to see. I'd probably put him on the second penalty kill, but either way, I mean, both of those guys would fit the bill. But there's one I actually like a little bit better than from Edmonton, and it's the only other team that it made a lot of sense. Again, went through all the teams to see which teams wanted it, which ones it made sense with. It's a long process. That's why I did it off screen. The other one is with the Pittsburgh Penguins here. All right, so this one I would like to do is Brendan Dillon. Now this one's going to be harder because the salary cap's not going to work with Dillon. They're going to have to eat salary, but he's a defensive defenseman at what, 81 overall, defensive defenseman, 87 down the board there. But when you look here, they list him as a defensive pairing 1, a penalty kill 1, and a 3-man penalty kill 1. Like, I mean, he's listed to be a top defensive defenseman on your top pairing, on your top penalty kill unit, and on your top 5 on 3 penalty kill unit. I mean, this is exactly what we need right now is Brendan Dillon. This guy makes a lot of sense for us. So I want to try and get it done, Brendan Dillon. I don't think, the other guys weren't really targets. So this one makes the most sense, but we don't have the salary cap to make it work. Even with shipping Neil Pionk over there, you can see it's not going to go through because we would be over the maximum salary cap. We can't really give up any more roster players, so this is where they're going to have to eat salary, and then we're going to have to ship them a top prospect or a draft pick to help it go through. So first of all, we got to get the salary to work. So he's making like 4 point something, which is insane. Actually, let's show you that quickly. Let's go here to his salary. So he does have 1 year left, which is the perfect term, but 4.5. So it's a pure rental, but we're just trying to get a Stanley Cup out of this guy. All right, so let's bring this up until we are even with the salary. So right about there, let's ask them to eat exactly $1 million of his 4.5. So we would have to pay him 3.5 for the remaining of this year. So yeah, let's go 3.5 here. Yeah, let's do that. That should make it go through. Actually, it still won't go through with them only eating $1 million. All right, so let's try asking them to eat 1.4 million. Will that work? Still, Calgary would be over the league's max. Are you serious? All right. This is insane. All right, let's try asking them to eat exactly 2 million, which would be 44% roughly of the cap. So yeah, 2 million. No, that's still not going to work. Holy cow. All right, they're going to have to eat the whole thing here, the whole half that they can. 2.26. And it still won't work. Are you kidding me? Wow, that's insane. I don't think we have anybody else we can trade with salary. When you go by all skaters here, skaters match and block. Yeah, with salary, I don't think we have anybody else we can trade over. We need all these other guys that are our roster players. So yeah, I mean this one might not end up working at the end of the day. Goalies, I mean we don't have anything obviously. So that sucks. I thought we could have made this work somehow, even with them eating half the salary. It's still not going to work. That's too bad. I'm just looking down here. This the Sanford guy, he's on a 2-way contract. He's in our AHL team. Actually, he's a prospect for us. And does he got a little bit of salary? Would that help? We drafted him 26 overall. Blah, blah, blah. I just want to see, for example, we put Sanford in there as well. Yeah, that's still not going to help. It's probably because he's making AHL money. So, yeah, so that sucks. It's not going to work with Brendan Dillon, even with them eating half the damn salary. It still puts us, what is that, 0.53 under the cap there. Oh, that sucks. The only other thing we can do is try Shillington instead of Pionk. So let's go back here because Shillington had a slightly higher salary. I wanted to get rid of Pionk because he had the extra term, and but I mean, if we tried Shillington's 1.7 plus they're eating Brendan Dillon's full salary, still that does not work. That just doesn't work. Crap. So I mean, if Brendan Dillon had a slightly if he was making 4 million flat or even 4.2 or something. 4.52 exactly is just a little bit too rich for us. We just can't afford it at the end of the day. But you know what? That's okay. We have some other options in Edmonton. So let's go back to Edmonton here then. And let's try and make it work for either Siegenthaler or Nemeth. And again, just some depth defensemen guys that can come in and play on our PK and play on our third pairing. So let's go back here to Edmonton. You don't want to do trades with your rivals, especially at this time of year, especially in your division. But you know what? We have no other choice right now. So just some little wheeling and dealing here to try and improve our team. All right, so let's go back here. Let's try and get rid of Pionk here. They want Pionk, and they want to give up one of their defensive defensemen. So yeah, this one's tough. I mean, do we want Nemeth or do we want Siegenthaler? So again, when we look at salary, 1.9 for Nemeth. And then Siegenthaler is a little less at 1.7, both on 1-year contracts, so it wouldn't matter there. Siegenthaler, again, 84, 91, 91 down there, defensive defenseman, but he's listed as a defensive pairing 3 and a 3-man PK, whereas Nemeth is listed as defensive pairing 2, PK1, and PK1 for the 5-on-3. So I think I'm going to try Nemeth first. He is a veteran. Could come in. I know he's making slightly more, but I just like the fact that they list him on the PK, on the number 1 PK and on the number 1 5-on-3 PK, and even on your defensive pairing 2, which means we could put him on our top 4. We won't, but we could. I mean, if we really wanted to. Good leader in the locker room, really loyal. Yeah. He is a veteran. I mean, he does bring that in. Siegenthaler, excuse me. Siegenthaler also has good stats here. He could also probably play on your top PK. So, I mean, yeah, I don't think there's much of a difference between these two players. But at the end of the day, we need one of these guys to come in and help our team. I would like both of them, but I know we're not going to get both of them with the salary. But yeah, let's try Nemeth first, I should say. And this one will work with the salary straight up. Pionk for Patrick and Nemeth. So we could try this. I don't know if the value's in their favor or our favor, but let's try it. Let's try straight up for Nemeth and Pionk. It's going to be rejected, so they need some back here. Again, probably a draft pick or something coming back. Again, they're taking on more term in Pionk, but let's try giving them a... Let's see if there's any prospects, like low-level prospects, again, that they might be interested in. All right. Let's go down here. I don't know if any of these guys are going to work down here. This guy here, another defenseman. We can just try and see if this will tip it. And it's accepted. Right, so we have to give them a lower prospect plus Neil Pionk, and we get Patrick Nemeth back, a good veteran that come in and obviously be on our third pairing there. Again, I just got to go to edit lines here. I wouldn't mind bringing in another defenseman, but again, I just don't think it's going to work. So let's go down here to here. Let's put in Patrick Nemeth. Yeah, I can substitute into all of his lines there. So suddenly, look at that, +1 there on that third pairing, +1 on that second pairing, kind of neutral there. But Patrick Nemeth suddenly kind of neutralizes that. He can come in as well and be on our PK. I'm not going to do that right now, but he can come into our PK. And just like that, our team's looking better defensively. We brought in a reliable backup goalie, and we brought in a defensive defenseman to help our PK. Yeah, I'm going to stop there. I mean, I kind of want to try and see if we could get another defenseman out of it, but at the end of the day, I think this is the right move to make. So what we're going to do is we're going to end this episode here. That is our trade deadline, if you will. I'm not even going to sim forward, because I want to think we should maybe get another defenseman. But at the end of the day, that will do it for our trade deadline. That will do it for this episode. Suddenly, yeah, like, I mean, I can't believe how incredibly good we were this episode. We picked it up. We significantly improved in this episode, which is nice to see. We're suddenly back in a contending spot in the playoffs and in our division. So we have the ability to actually complete our goal in what is our final season and still contend for the Stanley Cup. We had to make a little bit of minor moves here to kind of solidify our team as such, but I do like what we did in this episode, obviously, both in simming and here at the trade deadline. So that will do it for episode number 48, I believe it is. We'll pick up the rest of this stuff, the rest of the season, get ourselves right to the Stanley Cup playoffs in episode number 49.